Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is Rebecca Umholtz, your Director of Development with the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm really looking forward to it because we've had a lot of questions about how to protect our businesses from computer hacking scams. And unfortunately, we do need to talk about that and how to protect ourselves. I'm so very glad to have back with us. He's a Mount Pleasant Chamber member, Rodney McLeod. He is the CEO and founder of McLeod Information Systems. Hello, Rodney.
Hello, Rebecca. Thank you for having me out today to talk about this important topic of phishing.
Well, I really appreciate you being willing to come back and join us again. I know you're super busy, but you are an expert in cybersecurity. And you did a webinar for us a few weeks ago now, and it was very well received. And as a result of that, we wanted to have you back to talk about the, I guess the proper terminology is phishing type scams out there where someone's trying to get into your computer, your home computer, your business computer, which is very scary.
Yes, ma'am. It goes on a lot. And phishing covers a lot of things. It's just not email. It can also be using phone or text messages. It's just the bad guys trying to find out information that they can exploit against us.
Well, that's why we wanted to have this conversation today with so many of us working remotely from home. A little bit about you, Rodney, is that you are a 20-year veteran with the U.S. Air Force, so thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you.
And you are a certified information systems security professional. You're a member and actually you're founder of the local Charleston chapter for the ISC Squared.
Correct.
So you have a very extensive background in information systems security. So thanks again for enlightening us. And I know we're all going to come away with some great knowledge and information today to protect our businesses. So thank you so much. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca. And I enjoy being here. Like I said before, I enjoy helping out the community and the small businesses just to help them prepare during this time. So a little more about my background is I did 20 years in the Air Force, IT services. Then I did 15 years of government contracting in the IT industry, cybersecurity, that kind of thing. And then in 2016, 2017, I started my own cybersecurity business. The reason I started was to support of kids fostering out of foster care and kids in the Title I schools that really need help. So got an apprenticeship program helping those kids grow into my future employees, hopefully. So that's a little bit about me. So let's get on about the topic, and that is phishing and what you need to know to protect your business, and not just your business, your home, everything, your finances.
And as we go through, Rodney, if anybody has any questions, we'll have some time at the end to address them.
Great. Thank you for reminding me, Rebecca.
Yeah. No, and I have to remind myself, there's actually a Q&A chat box at the bottom of folks' screens. So feel free to submit your questions. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I know on my screen, I got the video box of me up there. If that's in the way of a slide, someone please let me know if you can't see some things, if you don't see it on your side. So the first thing we're going to talk about, or the only thing we're talking about today, is phishing and what it is. And you can read, on the screen there. And it's just people trying to get information from you, whether it's, your bank account numbers or your account numbers, different things like that. And there's many ways that they go about doing that. But here's a few statistics that I got from the Verizon Data Breach Investigation Report from 2019 that just shows that, breaches come from social attacks, which social attacks is just communicating, whether email, phone calls, that kind of thing, just trying to get information out of you. Again, 15% breaches were misuse of authorized users. And that's where they get your account numbers, that kind of, or not account names to log in. So, and you can read all those down there, but 94% malware was delivered via email through these phishing attempts. And that is a huge number. And the malware is how they collect information about your program, or put bad software on your machine that sends it out to the bad guys. So what kind of phishing types do we have? It's mostly known by email attacks, but there's other methods that delivers the bait that tries to lure you in. General phishing is that's just the email that they broadcast out to the wild, to anybody, any email that they can find, they'll send it out. Now, spear phishing is when they target somebody or an organization. So they'll look up a specific person or group of people and start creating an email campaign to send to those individuals or that organization. So if they wanted to get into Target or whoever, they just start building emails that look similar to what a Target employee would see, and then start spraying those organizations. So whaling is a strategy where they're going after executives or wealthy people. And that's going after big organizations. Like you go after Microsoft and their CEO, anybody in the C-suite type thing, that trying to get them to make decisions and give away money is the goal. And I have some samples that we'll go through some of this a little later on what to look for and what they're doing. Kind of a new term that's come out is smishing, which is SMS text messages. And you got to be careful on those. They'll send you a link that's they want you to click on. And that can put malware, bad programs on your phone without you even knowing it. And then all your text messages or your banking app, that can be vulnerable to that kind of attack. And then phishing, that's voice attacks via cell phone. It used to be social networking. It used to be on your desk phone. That's not there anymore. So they retermed it to phishing for cell phones. And that's just people calling up, trying to get information, asking you questions. Someone calls up saying they're Bank of America. Can you please verify your social and your bank account number before I can talk to you about your account? And they called you. So be aware of those. They should have that information and shouldn't be asking you for it. And if you get that phone call out of the blue and they're asking that kind of information, tell them that you will call back their support line and, ask if there's a reference number to the case or whatever, so you can call back to Bank of America directly and ask them. And that way, you're talking to Bank of America and not someone who just called you out of the blue. And with this, I don't know if you're aware or not, but with the cell phone, has the ability now that I can attach whatever phone number I want to when I call you. So that will pop up. Even though I'm here in South Carolina, it may show Bank of America headquarters, wherever it's at, that local number for them. So you got to watch those kind of attacks, that they'll do that kind of stuff. Okay, what is the target? So what scammers are after is passwords, financial information, identity, money. So that's what they really want to get from you. And the reason, passwords where they can log into your account on your bank account or your local computer, your company network. And once they get in there, then they can start snooping around and see where else they can get to. And it's just like when Target got hacked. They acquired a HVAC company's employees' password to the HVAC system that was in the store. So then they were able to log into it and then was able to go into Target corporate network and get into the point of sale systems, and were able to put their scammer software on the little device where you swipe your card. And so that's how they got hacked. It was by some small company. They got in and got into the HVAC, and that's what hackers are doing is they will look at second and third tier providers to big organizations to try to work through and get back to them. Also identity, they're really wanting identity, your social, birthday, all that stuff. They get that, they can go and open up a bank account or get a loan in your name. And that, identity theft is that part of it. Or they'll collect all these up and they'll sell it off on the dark web, and they'll get pennies on the dollars that they sell these things for. So that's the target, what the scammers are really wanting, and it comes down to just they're wanting money. But why do we fail for these different scams that come across an email and stuff? And one, you'll get, if you get an email that has a sense of urgency that says, hey, you got to do this right now, or your boss is going to be really mad, or we're going to lose a lot of money in this contract deal if you don't do this right now. Those are the kind of things they're wanting you not to call anybody else. It's a sense of urgency. Something's going to be lost or something's going to happen if you don't do it. You all heard the scams of the IRS emails. If you don't send us money right now, via Western Union, the cop's going to come knocking on your door, and it's scare tactics. And then, most of us, the desire to please. You just want to be a good employee. You want to please the people you work with and that kind of thing. Greed, and that one is, you click here, you could win, $1 million, and you're really looking for that money. You could use it. Curiosity, that's one that gnaws at me, because when I get a phishing email and something, I'm wanting to click so bad to see what's in it and take it apart. And there's ways to do it, but it just, sometimes I'm really wanting to just jump in there, but I know I gotta wait. And then complacency, you just don't realize that it's harmful, that kind of thing. And then fear of what happens, just like the IRS thing, the cops are going to knock on your door. I don't want to go to jail, those kind of things. So that's the main reasons, or the big reasons we fall for these little incidents that come along via email, text, whatever it may be. So here, this is an email, and it's funny. I just got this one, 2 days ago, May 4th. And so this was an email that was sent out by our company. Reply, we were talking to the vendor, or the buyer or customer, and somehow this guy got a hold of the email, and this is not the customer that goes with this invoice number. I have no idea who this guy is. And so that's kind of a flag. When you get in these emails, you need to look at different things. And the first thing is, who is it from? Do you recognize this? Look at the domain that as they call this, the part after the @ do you recognize that as a company that you normally deal with? If it's not, that you just put, all right, I got to really look good at this. And not all emails set up to where it'll show you the email address. Sometimes you'll just see the name, Mark Walker, there. And you can either hover over it or right click and show email to see that email. So make sure that if you don't, I have mine set up so it always shows me the email address, so I can quickly look at it and see if it's there. Oops. Then another thing, it says, good morning, I've attached a presentation for your review. Well, I don't know why this company would be sending me a presentation, so that's another red flag. And then they got this link that you want to hover over it, and then it'll give you this box that shows what it is. And now you can see they're sending me to the reddingtonpost.com/WP. That's a WordPress website, so that's been hacked. And the file ends in a .zip. If these file names is anything other than a .txt, it can be very harmful to you and your system. So never click on those. And then, best regards, there's no signature here. So I don't know, you don't know who it came from. So it's just a very bad email. So, I mean, you need to look at these clues and review it closely when you get them. Then this next email, and we talked about this one the other day, they did a very good job on this email. So this is my assistant that was she sends out all our invoices to a company. The big thing is this email is all legit except for these three highlighted in yellow, we never send to on when we send our emails out. So, and this is going to one of our customers. So, I mean, that should have been a red flag on the other end. Don't do that. And then something that they wouldn't do, but if you hover over billing in the email, it'll come up and show you that there are one L in the billing name, and then under mine, Rodney McLeod, our domain is McLeod is like this, but they put two I's in it. So I or the billing department would have never got this email that they sent to our client. So looking at this email, it doesn't really look that bad, but then when you open up the document, you can see formatting like, McLeod Information Systems LLC. I wouldn't send something like that out. Normally it would be one line across, regular formatted. And then McLeod Information System, it's the lower I, lower S. We would never do that. And then again, the point of contact is all ran together instead of having carriage returns after it. So, I mean, that's just telltale signs that things don't look right, that it was done in a hurry or not caring. So it gives you some clues. Luckily with this one, the accountant department over there gave us a call and said, "Do you really want to do this?" And we were able to stop that. And that's, them just looking at it, not sure, this doesn't make sense. So they called us and we were able to stop that. I think I got one more that I didn't get in the slideshow. Let me pull it up. So if you ever heard of Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank, so she almost lost $400,000. And oops, I went way too far there. Hitting too many buttons. So let me pull this up real quick. This was an email that I took to kind of mimic what happened to her. Oh, sorry about that. I should have had this in the slide. But this talks about it. But what they did was somebody created a domain that was similar to hers. So I went mimic with ours, and our domain is McLeodis.com, as you can see in the email down here. So that's our real email. So I went and created this one, another domain, McLeodLS.com, typed up this email, again, sent it to my assistant and said, hey, give Logan a 500 bonus in his next paycheck. And so that's kind of what happened to this Barbara Corcoran. Was somebody created a domain that looked just like theirs, and they sent it from her account, so it would have been Barbara Corcoran at whatever her domain was, to their accounting department and said, hey, you need to pay this bill for this renovation on whatever project they were working on. It was a legitimate project, and it had an invoice and everything, banking routing number and all that for $400,000. And they went back and forth in the email a few times, and then the accounting department finally said, okay, and went and sent it. And it was all off of one letter in the domain, going back and forth. So again, it's important to look at those domain names and understand where it's going to. Just a little telltale signs. So how do we deal with this once you click on one of these things? So if you're in a business, you should have an incident response plan already typed up and preparation. that's what we're doing right now. We're training folks on how to deal and spot these things and identify. And then once it happens, you identify that it happened. I did this. Now your IT department, if you have one, if not, it's best to have, a process. Who you're going to talk to in the company, is it the CEO, the president, or some manager, just how that process works, and then a plan to eradicate the software, anything that happened to your system, and then recovery and do a lessons learned. So that's an incident response plan to have laid out, ready for you to go in case this happens. So you can minimize the risk. And going back to that, Barbara Cochran, luckily they had an IT team that jumped on it and was able to track it to a bank in Germany and was able to stop the transaction of the money from there to wherever else it was going. So having a plan in place to stop it, the quicker you react, the more damage can be avoided. Here's a few places to report phishing. So if you get an email that looks fishy, of course, your IT department, if you have one, you should follow their notifications and plans. But if you don't have anything in place at this time, then, the IT department or IT manager or just your manager should be the first that you notify them of. And it's good to notify folks, let folks know when you get these emails, because it might be somebody else in the company getting the emails too. So the quicker you notify everybody, somebody may not become the victim of clicking on something. So the quicker you can share the information, hopefully somebody won't click on it. And then here's some other places, and this video will be online, so you can go back and look, but phishing-report at uscert.gov. That's a place to report. The U.S. government looks at these and tracks them. The Federal Trade Commission has an email where you can send stuff to. IRS has a place. So there's quite a few places that you can send these emails so they can investigate, just like that one that we saw that was to a website. They'll go and shut that website down so people won't get infected by whatever that file was doing. And in the private sectors, Google, Apple, PayPal, all these places have their own places to send. So if you get an eBay email and it's phishing or whatever, you can send that to eBay so they can look into it and stop whatever's happening. Okay, employee training. So this is one of the biggest things to stop phishing, is for an organization to have a training program where you train your users. Just like we showed, how to look at the emails, where they're coming from. Is it okay to click on it? And if you're not sure, don't click on it. Ask somebody before you click on it. Pick up the phone and call the sender, if you know them. Did you really want me to do this? And it may take just a minute to send, to call somebody, but it can stop a lot of heartache. For training, how often? So you should have a minimum of an annual training to go over not just phishing and email, but all your security policies for your organization. That has to do with, are employees allowed to use personal email on their company equipment? There's reasons not to do that, but you leave that up to the company. Lots of different things, policies, procedures. It should be gone over for cybersecurity, and we call those rules of behaviors, what an employee can and can't do with his IT equipment. And can an employee use his personal cell phone to receive email and that kind of thing. So all that should be an annual training at a minimum. And then there's a monthly phishing campaign that I highly recommend. We offer it to organizations to where once a month we will put together an email campaign that is sent out to all the employees, and in it will have, you know, embedded links or different call to actions or whatever to try to get the people to click on it. Now, what we do is when you click on it, it pops up a video and says you've been hooked. Now watch this video, and this is why you shouldn't have done this or that on this email. And it kind of trains you at the moment. And, you know, luckily nothing bad has happened. And we see that doing this training, the first time we'll send it out, you know, we may get 70% people click on it. And after doing this several times, then it gets down to a minimal, you know, 5-10% that click on something. So, I mean, that's the best training, in my opinion, all is just the ever recurring, just stuff coming in your inbox and checking, see how you're checking things off to see if you're recognizing these emails and suspicious. So I went kind of quick through this. Do we have any questions at this point?
Rodney, it's Rebecca. So
Yes.
I think it's worth repeating that your own experience with a potential phishing scam was when it looked like an email came from your administrative assistant to a client asking them to the email went to your client asking the client to send their payment to a different checking account.
Right.
Which was the scammers.
I
That really hit me pretty hard. And then the fact that the person who received the email called you to make sure that it really did come from you. They didn't just assume it, because there's her beautiful picture.
Yeah, I touched on this one a little bit, and this, like I said, the email that went out that really hard to tell whether it was a good or bad email, but the letter inside is what really set it off. And this is the invoice that we normally send out, and you can see the point of contact is formatted properly, but over here it's not quite right returns. The signature is the same, but then again, you know, at the top, this you know, is not formatted properly. So you can see the difference in the formatting in it, and it's like you said before, Rebecca, the devil's in the details of looking at the formatting and that kind of thing. That's the things that should really tip you off when you're looking at this. And then this just goes down to looking into the email when it comes in. And this is what I mentioned earlier. So they changed my email address that has IIS, and the billing only has one L in it. So our company would have never got this email, just the people in this other organization got it. And then if they would have replied to the email, somebody in that organization, it wouldn't have went back to the assistant, because they changed it to McLeod, or Biyokabasi McLeod is @mail.com. So again, they have a email they've created so they can collect the information back, so the company's not talking to who they think it is. And then this just shows where it actually came from, which is normally they've been hacked and then the email sent from there. So trying to trace these things back, it's always winding back to, you know, jumping from place to place, and it will go way back to find where they're really from. You would have to go to this organization and get their records and see where they came from to get to them. And it's very hard to track down hackers and spoofers like this, because what happens is they could be in Russia, they'll jump to Central America, then jump to another European country, and then come into the United States and hit us. And so trying to find those people that are really behind it, it's tough because we don't have jurisdictions of all those countries. So they can hide back there behind that and you don't know who they are.
And that goes back to training. And what also hit me today was the fact that it's important to know your second and third tier providers, correct? And make
Correct.
sure that they're paying attention to cybersecurity. Here's a question. How do these companies get all of our cell phone numbers? Is there a list somewhere? Great question.
Great question. So there are these sites out there, and I meant to bring that up during the presentation. I'm glad you brought it up. Let me pull something up and it'll scare the bejeebies out of you. And I'm not trying to do that, but let's see, where the heck is it? Briefing documents. So this was a file. I was goofing around on the internet, just doing research like I do. And I came up to, I found this file on the internet. And if you look here, it's the person's title, their company, their website address, everything. And of course you look here and it says email not available, but you can go to this organization that produced this. It doesn't show it there. Where does it show it? I thought it showed it in here. It doesn't show it. Yeah, it does. Not available in the sample. So if you got a hold of this company, and I went to the website, finally found where they were, dug it up, and they will provide this information to you for a fee. And if you look at on this email, I mean, these are all technology executives that this list was targeting. So you can buy targeted lists with emails and phone numbers to target people with. So now a hacker gets this information, he can turn right around and now build his email attack on all these companies, do just a wide general phishing and hit all of them, or start finding out information and do a direct attack or phishing attack. So, and that was another point I wanted to lead into is if you have Facebook and you see these little quizzes that come out that ask all these silly questions, what was your first dog's name? How many countries have you visited? What's your favorite city? All those questions that people answer and put back out, those are collected by people online to build a database per se about you. And then you think about your security questions that you're creating an account. So what's your first dog's name? Well, that's a security question, but it'll be in one of those surveys that they do online. They slip them in there and just build these big profiles of people, of information. And then you'll also see folks that say, my Facebook account has been hacked, don't accept any friend request. It's not that it's been hacked. They just created a Facebook account with your same name and stole your pictures and stuff to put on there. And what they're wanting to do is have your friends become friends with them. So now they can pull all the information out of their Facebook page for any kind of those surveys, that kind of thing, and then start building the database profile on you, in case they want to hack your account, that kind of thing. So, and all that information is scraped up, put in huge databases, and then sold to hackers, just like this list here of any information they can find out. So, I mean, you got to protect your data footprint while you're online. Everybody is looking, not everybody, a lot of folks are collecting that information that we put out there, Instagram, Facebook, wherever it may be. They are collecting that information, and be afraid of what you put out on the internet, because it can and will be used against you, and it ain't a court of law.
Wow. And today was the first time I've heard the term smishing. For this, I never thought about that someone could take my cell phone number and hijack my text messaging capability.
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll
Makes sense.
text you, click on this link, and it may be say, hey, this is Verizon. If you want to save 10% on your bill this month, click the link. And, again, if people want to save money, yeah, give me that. So you got to be careful of looking at these text messages. If it comes from, an unknown number, that kind of thing, be really suspicious of what they're asking you to do.
Well, Rodney, thank you so much. I want to make sure that people can reach you, and we'll post this webinar today on our website and on our YouTube channel. Thank you. Perfect. There's the screen. And that has your email, Rodney at McLeodis.com, McLeodis.com. Rodney, does your company provide training? I think it's not secret shopping, but it's like, and it's I liken it to secret shopping. That's not correct. But when you're trying to see how vulnerable your company is or your employees to doing that click.
Correct. So yeah, we do have the ability to do email phishing campaigns. So if you want to see how secure your company is or how trained your employees are, we can set that up to be done. I also do consultation where we come in and just look over your company, your IT program, your policies, procedures, and give you an idea of how secure you are, what you need to do to get to a more secure footing, especially working from home and that kind of thing today. A lot of things people don't think about. In your office, you print out stuff all day long, financials and customer list and that. But now you got people from working from home, and they could be printing out financials and customer list and all that. And how is that stuff being stored and protected? Because your customer list, your financials, it's a lot easier for me to target you in your house now and go and scoop up that information and run off with it.
Well, in the incident response plan that you mentioned, that as a small business owner, I didn't have one. So do you do that as well? Do you help businesses formulate an incident response plan if they are hacked?
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll come in and we can do an assessment on your company. It takes, depending on how big it is. If it's a real small company, half a day, we can come in, do some question answerings and figure out everything you need to be doing as a small company. And then we can help you put those things in place, writing policies, procedures, making sure your systems are secure. Now, we don't get into, hey, I can't print to my printer. I don't want to get into that realm. But as far as cybersecurity consulting and making sure your system is getting the right patches and that kind of thing, or your IT company that's supporting you, are they doing everything they should be doing to take care of your business and be secure?
Well, I just want to thank you again visually, in person. Thank you so much, Rodney McLeod, CEO, founder of McLeod Information Systems, for once again, this is really great information, some things I hadn't thought about. I definitely be paying attention to those emails as they come through and look for those, what the devil's in the details, making sure that everything looks like it should, and also clicking to make sure that that name that I have, that it matches up with an email I should recognize.
Correct.
So that was also another great piece of advice. So thank you again on behalf of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce for today's webinar. And thank you for that information. Again, we'll have it on our website as well as our YouTube channel. Any last words, Rodney?
Nope, just thank you for having me, and look forward to supporting the chamber and the community.
Sounds good. I hope to see you and meet you in person at some point.
Yeah, well, we can get back together.
Sounds good. Well, everybody
Right.
have a great day. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.